My stepfather told everyone at my baby shower that my husband wasn't the real father. You're all celebrating, but does anyone know the truth about this baby? Greg, what are you doing? Tell them, Kadena. Tell everyone who the real father is. Stop it, you're drunk. Am I? Or am I the only one brave enough to say what everyone's thinking? My stepfather told everyone at my baby shower that my husband wasn't the real father. Hi, I'm Karina. Today I'm going to tell you my story. But before I continue, please like, share, and subscribe to hear more stories like this. My mother, Dorothy, married Greg Holloway when I was 15. My biological father had passed away from heart disease 2 years earlier, and Mom was drowning in loneliness. Greg seemed decent enough at first. A successful plumber who ran his own company out in Riverside, owned a nice ranch-style home, and treated Mom like a queen during their courtship. But Greg had a demon he couldn't shake. Alcohol, not every single day, but when he did drink, he transformed into someone ugly. Sharp-tongued remarks, vicious jokes disguised as humor, comments that crossed every line imaginable. Mom made excuses that became her daily mantra. He's just overwhelmed with work. He doesn't mean those things. That's just how he gets when he's under pressure. I escaped to UC San Diego at 18 and maintained my distance like it was a survival strategy. I'd return home for Thanksgiving and Christmas, stomach Greg's inappropriate observations about my weight or my boyfriend choices, and bolt back to campus the moment dessert was finished. Mom and I kept our bond strong, but I made my position crystal clear. Greg wasn't someone I needed in my world beyond obligatory family gatherings. I met my husband, Dominic Ramirez, when I was 24. He was a civil engineer with the gentlest soul, everything Greg could never be. We spent 2 years building something real before he proposed on the Santa Monica Pier at sunset. The wedding was picture perfect, though Greg got plastered at the reception and delivered a toast that felt more like a roasting session. To Karina, he announced, raising his whiskey glass with that trademark smirk, who finally snagged someone willing to tolerate her personality. Lord knows it took forever. Dominic squeezed my hand beneath the white tablecloth. Don't give him the satisfaction, he whispered. I didn't. I'd become an expert at making Greg invisible. 3 years into our marriage, Dominic and I decided we were ready for parenthood. The journey was harder than we imagined. Months of crushing negative pregnancy tests, of building hope only to watch it crumble. We were researching fertility specialists when I finally saw those 2 pink lines. We were absolutely ecstatic. Dominic wept. I wept. We immediately called our families. Mom was over the moon. Oh, sweetheart, I'm thrilled for you. When's your due date? Early March. We're still in the beginning stages, only 8 weeks along, but we couldn't wait to share. This is the most wonderful news. I heard Greg's voice rumbling in the background. What's so wonderful? Karina's expecting. There was this weighted pause. Then Greg's voice sounded thick, even though it was only 2:00 in the afternoon. Well, congratulations, that Dominic sure doesn't waste time, does he? I ignored the comment, but it planted something uncomfortable deep in my chest that wouldn't leave. The pregnancy progressed beautifully. We discovered we were having a daughter. We spent weekends painting the nursery in soft lavender, picked out the name Sophia Rose, and assembled what felt like 1,000 baby items. My best friend Lauren volunteered to host my baby shower, and I accepted with genuine gratitude. The shower was scheduled for when I'd be 7 months along. Lauren reserved this gorgeous venue in Pasadena with an outdoor garden space. She created a guest list of 30 people. My closest friends, colleagues from the marketing firm, Dominic's extended family, and my family. I gave her one crucial instruction. My stepfather has a serious drinking problem, I explained carefully. Please make absolutely certain there's no alcohol available. Lauren promised it would be completely dry. The day arrived warm and beautiful. Everyone dressed in their spring vest. The decorations were breathtaking, soft yellows and mint greens. Since we decided to reveal our daughter's gender at the celebration, Dominic's parents showed up with their arms full of wrapped presents. His mother, Rosa, embraced me carefully, mindful of my rounded belly. You look absolutely radiant, mija. Thank you, Rosa. My mother arrived with Greg attached to her side. I could tell immediately he'd been drinking beforehand. His eyes had that glassy, unfocused quality, his movements too loose and careless. Mom looked mortified. "Greg, you gave me your word," I heard her hiss. "I had one beer to celebrate," he announced loudly. "It's a party, isn't it?" I pulled Mom to a quiet corner. "Is he going to behave himself?" "He'll be perfectly fine. He's just happy for you." "Mom, if he starts anything, you need to remove him immediately. He won't cause problems, I promise you." The shower began like a dream. Games that made everyone laugh. Presents that made me tear up. Joy that felt tangible. We did the gender reveal with an elaborate cake, cutting through to reveal pink layers hidden inside. Everyone erupted in cheers. Dominic kissed me tenderly, his palm resting on where Sophia was kicking. Then came the speeches portion. Lauren had organized a segment where people could share wisdom and well wishes. Dominic's mother went first, speaking movingly about the profound joy of motherhood. My colleague Amber went next, making the entire room laugh with embarrassing stories from our work friendship. Then Greg stood up abruptly. Mom grabbed at his arm desperately. "Greg, sit down right now. I want to say something," he insisted, yanking free from her grip. Lauren looked at me with panic in her eyes. I shook my head slightly, silently begging her to stop this. But Greg was already at the front, microphone in hand. "You're all celebrating, but does anyone know the truth about this baby?" The room fell into shocked silence. Dominic rose from his chair. "Greg, that's enough." "Greg, what are you doing?" Greg pointed his finger directly at me. "Tell them, Karina, tell everyone who the real father is." My face burned with humiliation. "Stop it, you're drunk." "Am I? Or am I the only one brave enough to say what everyone's thinking?" Dominic was moving toward him quickly. "Give me that microphone." Greg dodged away. "This baby isn't Dominic's. Karina's been having an affair. I've seen the messages on her phone with my own eyes." The room exploded into chaos. People gasping, whispered conversations erupting, shocked faces turning toward me. Mom was sobbing, desperately trying to physically pull Greg away. Lauren stood frozen, completely unsure how to handle this nightmare. "That's a lie!" I screamed, struggling to stand with my pregnant belly. "You're making that up." "Then explain the texts from that man at your office. The ones I saw when you carelessly left your phone at Christmas dinner." "I don't know what you're talking about." Dominic reached Greg and ripped the microphone from his grip. "Get out now!" "I'm just telling everyone the truth." "You're telling vicious lies." Dominic's voice shook with barely contained rage. "You're a pathetic drunk who can't stand watching anyone be happy." Greg lunged at Dominic violently. They crashed into the gift table, sending beautifully wrapped presents flying everywhere. Dominic's brothers immediately jumped in to separate them. Women were screaming. Rosa was physically holding me back as I tried to reach them. Venue security arrived and forcibly escorted Greg out. He was shouting the entire way. "Ask her about Andrew from her office. Just ask her." The damage was catastrophic and complete. The party was destroyed. People were leaving quickly, whispering to each other, looking at me with doubt in their eyes. I was sobbing uncontrollably, 7 months pregnant and utterly humiliated in front of everyone I loved. Lauren was apologizing over and over. "I'm so sorry, I should have hired security from the beginning." "It's not your fault." I managed through my tears. Mom approached, mascara streaming down her face. "Karina, I'm so deeply sorry. I don't understand why he said those horrible things." "Because he's a hateful drunk," I yelled. "Because he's always been hateful and cruel." "He didn't mean it." "Yes, he did. He meant every single word. He wanted to destroy this day, and he succeeded." Dominic's family surrounded us protectively. Rosa held me while I cried like I hadn't since my father died. Dominic was trembling with fury, his brothers working to calm him down. We left shortly after. The shower that should have been a joyous celebration now just wreckage. At home, Dominic held me while I sobbed into his chest. "Everyone thinks I cheated on you. No one who matters believes that. But they'll wonder. Even if they don't believe it completely, they'll always wonder. Then we'll prove it's not true." "How?" "By getting a paternity test. That's humiliating. Then we don't do it. We know the truth. That's what matters." But I couldn't let it go. Greg's accusation had poisoned everything beautiful. I kept replaying everyone's shocked faces, the judgment, the whispers, and the Andrew comment. Andrew was a colleague I'd collaborated with on the Peterson account. We'd texted about work presentations and client meetings. That was the entirety of it. But Greg had somehow seen those completely professional texts over Christmas and twisted them into evidence of infidelity. The next morning, I called my mother. "I need to know exactly what Greg told you." She was crying again. "He claimed he saw texts between you and someone named Andrew, that they seemed inappropriate. They were work texts about a presentation we were preparing together." "I know, sweetheart. I told him he was being absolutely ridiculous." "Did you actually see these texts yourself?" "No, he just described them to me. So he made it up. He saw normal work texts and fabricated a story to justify ruining my baby shower." Mom went silent. "I want him to apologize publicly to everyone who was there." "Karina, you know how Greg is." "I don't care how Greg is. He accused me of infidelity in front of 30 people. He questioned my baby's paternity. He needs to make this right." "I'll talk to him." "No, I want to talk to him directly. Have him call me." Greg never called. Instead, Mom called back the following day. "He's very sorry, but he doesn't think a public apology is necessary. He says he was just concerned and maybe handled it poorly." "Maybe handled it poorly? He destroyed my baby shower." "I know, sweetheart, but asking him to apologize publicly will just make him defensive and angry." "I don't care if he's defensive. He humiliated me." "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to leave him. I want you to realize he's an abusive alcoholic who ruins everything good in your life. But I know you won't. So instead, I'm telling you he's not welcome in my life anymore. Not at the hospital when I give birth. Not at my house to meet Sophia. Nowhere. You can't keep me from my grandchild." "I'm not. You're welcome anytime, but Greg isn't. Ever." "That's not fair. We're married. We're a package deal." "Then I guess you won't be very involved in your granddaughter's life. Your choice." I hung up. Dominic supported my decision completely. "He crossed multiple lines. You don't have to tolerate him. Mom's going to be devastated. Your mom is choosing to stay with someone who publicly humiliated her daughter. That's on her, not you." Word spread quickly about what happened. Some people reached out with support, others went silent, and I knew they were the ones who believed Greg's lies, even partially. Dominic's family was furious. Rosa called Greg and left him a voicemail in rapid Spanish that Dominic translated as creative threats involving his anatomy and various kitchen utensils. 2 weeks after the shower, my boss called. "Karina, I heard something concerning. I need to ask you directly, is there anything inappropriate happening between you and Andrew?" My stomach dropped. "No, we work together on the Peterson account, that's all." "Someone contacted our HR department claiming you two were having an affair." "Who called?" They wouldn't identify themselves. Anonymous tip. I knew immediately it was Greg. "My stepfather made an accusation at my baby shower. It's completely false. He saw work texts between Andrew and me and twisted them into something they weren't." "Can you provide those texts?" "Of course." I forwarded everything to HR. The texts were utterly professional. Meeting times, presentation edits, client feedback. The inappropriate messages Greg had invented simply didn't exist. HR cleared both Andrew and me, but the damage was done. Andrew was furious he'd been dragged into this nightmare. The office was buzzing with gossip about my personal life. I called my mother, absolutely livid. "Greg called my workplace. He reported me for an affair that doesn't exist." "What? No, he wouldn't do that. HR just questioned me. Someone made an anonymous report. It was him." "You don't know that for certain." "Who else would it be?" "He's trying to destroy my life because I cut him off." "You're being paranoid." "I'm being realistic. Your husband is vindictive and cruel, and he's systematically trying to ruin me." I hired a lawyer the next day. The lawyer sent Greg a cease and desist letter warning that further defamatory statements or harassment would result in legal action. Greg responded by posting on Facebook. He didn't name me directly, but it was obvious. Some people can't handle the truth. They'd rather silence those who speak up than face their own actions. Dominic's brother Nathan, who worked in IT, captured screenshots of everything before Greg could delete it. My lawyer filed a defamation lawsuit. Greg and Mom were served papers 3 weeks before my due date. Mom called hysterical. "You're suing us? Your own family?" I'm suing Greg for defamation. You're named because you're married to him. This is going too far. He went too far when he accused me of adultery at my baby shower. He went too far when he called my workplace. He went too far when he posted about me on social media. I'm protecting myself and my family. The legal fees will bankrupt us. Then maybe Greg should have thought about that before he decided to destroy my reputation. I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're still defending him. She hung up. I gave birth to Sophia in early March. She was absolutely perfect, 2 Oz, healthy with Dominic's dark hair and my nose. Dominic cried, holding her. So did I. My mother wasn't there. I hadn't told her when labor started. Dominic's family was there celebrating with us, supporting us, loving our daughter without conditions or drama. 2 days after Sophia was born, Mom showed up at the hospital. The nurses stopped her at my room door. I'm the grandmother, she insisted. I'm sorry, but you're not on the approved visitor list, the nurse explained. Karina, please, I just want to meet my granddaughter. I could hear her voice from inside. Dominic looked at me. Your call. Part of me wanted to let her in, but I knew Greg would follow eventually. That letting Mom in meant eventually letting him in. No, I said, tell her no. The nurse conveyed the message. Mom broke down crying in the hallway. Hospital security escorted her out. I felt guilty but also relieved. I was protecting my daughter from toxicity. That was my job as her mother. The defamation lawsuit moved forward. Greg's lawyer tried arguing he was just expressing concern, that he had a right to free speech. My lawyer countered with evidence of malice, the false HR report, the social media posts, the escalating harassment pattern. We had witnesses from the baby shower who could testify about what he said and his demeanor. Lauren had even captured some of it on video before everything fell apart. The case was strong. 3 months after Sophia was born, Greg's lawyer approached mine about settling. Greg would issue a public apology, retract all statements, and pay damages. In exchange, I'd drop the lawsuit. How much are they offering? I asked. 15,000. Not enough. I want 50,000 for emotional distress, a written apology posted publicly on all his social media accounts, and a legally binding agreement that he never contacts me or my family again. That's aggressive. So was ruining my baby shower and trying to destroy my career. They countered at 25,000. I accepted 30,000 plus the other conditions. Greg's public apology appeared on his Facebook page 3 weeks later. I made serious and false accusations against my stepdaughter, Karina Ramirez. I claimed she was unfaithful to her husband and that her daughter's paternity was in question. These claims were completely false and made when I was intoxicated and not thinking clearly. I have no evidence of any wrongdoing on Karina's part. I deeply regret my actions and the pain I caused. I apologize to Karina, her husband Dominic, and all those who witnessed my behavior. It stayed up for exactly the required 7 days before he deleted it. The $30,000 went into Sophia's college fund. Mom and I slowly rebuilt our relationship, but it was fundamentally different now. Strained and careful. She'd come visit Sophia, always alone. I never asked about Greg, and she didn't volunteer information. Are you still with him? I finally asked during one visit when Sophia was 6 months old. Yes, even after everything, it's complicated. It's really not. He's abusive, and you're choosing him over me. I'm here, aren't I? Alone. Always alone because you know I won't let him near my daughter. He's getting help. He's in AA. Good for him. That doesn't change what he did or earn him access to my family. You're very unforgiving. I'm very protective. There's a difference. Mom left looking sad and I felt guilty again. But not guilty enough to change my boundaries. Dominic and I thrived as parents. Sophia was a happy baby who grew into a curious toddler. We bought a bigger house in Riverside. I got promoted to senior marketing director. The gossip from Greg's false accusations faded completely. Dominic's family was involved and supportive, giving Sophia the extended family love she deserved. My mother saw Sophia every few weeks, bringing gifts and taking photos to show Greg. I hated that he got to see pictures of my daughter, but I couldn't control what Mom did with her phone. When Sophia was 2, Mom called with news. Greg and I are separating. What happened? He started drinking again, worse than before. I finally realized I can't fix him. I'm sorry, Mom. Are you? You've been waiting for this? I'm sorry you're going through a divorce. I'm not sorry you're leaving someone who was terrible to you and to me. He wants to see Sophia, to apologize in person. No, he's her grandfather. He's my mother's ex-husband who ruined my baby shower, tried to destroy my career, and has never once been there for me. He's nothing to Sophia. That seems harsh. That seems appropriate. Mom eventually filed for divorce. It was messy and expensive, exactly what I'd warned her about years ago. Greg fought her on everything, vindictive until the very end. During the divorce proceedings, it came out that Greg had gambling debts. That's why he'd been drinking so much, why he'd been so stressed. He'd lost thousands at the casino and was facing pressure from dangerous people he owed. Mom was shocked. I wasn't. Greg had always been selfish and impulsive. The divorce finalized when Sophia was 3. Mom moved into a small apartment and started rebuilding her life. Our relationship improved without Greg's shadow over it. Greg tried reaching out to me once through a mutual acquaintance. He wanted to meet Sophia, to be part of her life. I sent back a simple message. No, not now, not ever. He never asked again. Sophia is 5 now. She has a baby brother, Lucas, born last year. Another smooth pregnancy. Another beautiful baby shower that went off without any incident. If your stepfather publicly accused you of infidelity at your baby shower with no evidence and tried to ruin your career, would you have sued him and cut him off completely like I did? Or would you have tried to maintain peace for your mother's sake?